You ever hear that line about how one reckless choice can wreck your entire life? Yeah, I'm living proof. Name's Tessa. I'm 29. And just 6 months ago, I had a decent life. A cozy little 3-bedroom, a backyard strung with fairy lights, and a husband who looked at me like I was the sun. Now, I'm rinsing my hair in a Planet Fitness sink and sleeping in the back of a dented 2015 Honda Civic. And between us, I still don't think I deserve this fallout. People act like I torched a church or something, but none of them were the ones coming home night after night to silence, to a cold bed, to another dinner eaten alone because their husband was off halfway across the world playing soldier. Jake got his deployment orders last year, 12 months in some sun-scorched no-man's land. I'd been through this rodeo 3 times before, but this one, it felt different. We'd just closed on the house I was grinding through a mind-numbing admin job, and suddenly I was staring down an entire year of takeout boxes and solo Netflix marathons. The other wives on base, perfect, polished little robots with their matching t-shirts and glittery welcome home signs. I used to call them deployment cheerleaders in my head, always posting reunion videos like they're starring in a Hallmark film. Oh my God, Brittany, he was gone for 6 months, not 6 years. Relax. Then 2 weeks after Jake flew out, I ran into Caleb. Grocery store. He looked good, better than I remembered. We dated for 3 years before Jake. It didn't work out, commitment issues, timing, the usual. But now, he had this solidness to him. A few tattoos, a divorce under his belt, no place to live, bad credit, a walking cliché. I said the words, without thinking, if you need a place to crash for a bit, the guest room's open. It felt innocent, friendly, responsible even. When I told Jake on our next video chat, I played it cool. Remember Caleb? He's going through a rough patch. Just for a couple weeks. Jake hesitated. Of course he did. But then he gave me that trust you to do the right thing voice. If you're comfortable with it, I trust you. That was Jake. Always trying to take the high road. Honestly, I kind of wished he'd just push back a little. Show he cared, be a little territorial. Caleb moved in that weekend with 2 duffel bags and a guitar. At first, we orbited each other like roommates with unspoken rules. Closed doors, polite, nods, no late-night chats. But awkward tension doesn't last when you're the only 2 people in a house. Within a few weeks, we were making dinner together, watching old movies, laughing. Still nothing physical. So I told myself it was fine. Jake and I still FaceTimed. Twice a week. I made sure Caleb was never around for those, and when Jake asked how things were, I'd smile and say I was managing. Meanwhile, Caleb and I were swapping stories over spaghetti and red wine. One night, my co-worker Melissa dropped by unannounced. She saw us, me in leggings and mascara, him handing me a glass of wine, sitting too close, laughing too easily. Her face changed. She texted later. Does Jake know how close you and Caleb have gotten? I blocked her. What business was it of hers? Go cry into your lean cuisine, Melissa. By month 4, I was dressing better around the house, ditching the old sweatpants, maybe swiping on a little lip gloss. Caleb noticed. He'd tease, compliment me, say Jake was lucky, and I'd roll my eyes while secretly loving it. Because wasn't I allowed to feel seen? Jake was out there, living his mission, doing his noble thing, while I was here, scraping. Mold off the shower tiles, paying bills and swatting spiders. Caleb and I had our little rituals. Sunday grocery runs, takeout Fridays, margarita Mondays. Then one night, a storm knocked the power out. Candles, wine, stories. Something shifted in the dark. Caleb brushed hair from my face and I didn't flinch. When he kissed me, I didn't stop him. I should have, I know I should have. But the loneliness cracked something open. We didn't sleep together, not fully, but it was enough. Enough to shift the air between us. The next morning, he made pancakes. Like it was any other Tuesday. I skipped Jake's call that night, claimed food poisoning. How was I supposed to look him in the eye? But here's the thing. After a few days, the guilt faded. I started telling myself Jake had options too. He was probably surrounded by female officers, right? Who knew what he was doing? And if he really loved me, really, He wouldn't have left me here alone. 5 months in, Caleb was still between places. No urgency to move out. Jake started asking about it again. I got defensive, threw his absence back at him. He fixed the garbage disposal. When would you have done that? Jake's silence on the line felt like a small win. Let him feel the weight for once. Then Jake's friend Ryan dropped by to hand me some paperwork. Caleb's stuff was everywhere. His boots at the door, beer in the fridge, his hoodie on the back of my chair. Ryan didn't say anything, but I could see it in his face. Judgment. A few days later, Jake called. More questions. I blew up. Oh, so now Ryan's spying on me. Is that what this is? I hung up. Ignored him for 3 days. When I finally answered, I made him apologize. By then, I was already too far down the slide. We never gave it a name. That made it easier for me to lie to myself and pretend nothing was actually happening. Eventually, I started dreading Jake's voice on the phone. Every "I love you" or "I miss you" sounded like a verdict, even though he had no clue what was unfolding back home. When he finally asked why Caleb was still staying with us half a year later, I flipped it on him. You should be thanking him for keeping me company while you're off playing hero. Do you have any idea how suffocating the silence has been? He looked wounded, and a twisted part of me relished it. Let him feel a fraction of what I'd been carrying. Our neighborhood, full of military wives and silent suspicion, caught on long before Jake did. I'd catch glances from porch swings and behind grocery carts whenever Caleb and I left the house together or came back with takeout. Shannon from 3 doors down even cornered me near the dairy aisle. Does Jake know? How often you have company? I smiled, sugary sweet. Jake trusts me. Some marriages still work like that. In my head, I shredded her with every insult I could think of. They were just bitter. Bitter that I had warmth at night while they curled up with old photos and cold wine. By then, Caleb had made himself at home. His mail showed up at our door. He knew the code to the garage. One day he even moved the living room furniture around without asking, and I let him. Honestly, it looked better. Jake sometimes commented on our video calls about how different everything looked. I'd just shrug. Needed a change. You've been gone forever. Eventually, I stopped seeing any friends who still talked to Jake. Too many probing questions. Too many silent judgments. Instead, Caleb and I went places where no one knew us. We acted like we were something real, something simple. I told myself it was just distraction, just a stand-in for the real thing. I wasn't planning to leave Jake. Not really. Then came the moment everything broke. It was a Tuesday, month 8 of Jake's deployment. I was curled up on the couch in one of his old shirts. One Caleb had started wearing too, if I'm being honest. Caleb was gaming, I was scrolling. Then my phone buzzed. Surprise, got some unexpected news. Call me when you can. I felt the bottom drop out of my stomach but tried to brush it off. Probably a change in schedule. Nothing serious. When I called, Jake's face popped up on the screen, grinning. Radiant. I'm coming home early. Just a sprained ankle, but they're sending a few of us back for specialized training. I'll be there in 3 days. 3 days. I kept my voice upbeat, said all the right things. That's incredible. I'm so excited. But internally, I was unraveling. As soon as we hung up, I turned to Caleb. He'd heard the whole thing. You need to leave now. He blinked at me like I'd slapped him. Where am I supposed to go? Just like that, not my problem. I reminded him this was always temporary. He just scoffed. Temporary? Tessa, we've been playing house for months. Don't act like this hasn't meant something. The next 2 days were a blur of frantic cleaning and panic denial. I scrubbed the house from top to bottom, boxed up his things, washed every sheet, even though we'd never technically crossed. That final line. He dragged his feet the entire time, half packing, half guilt-tripping me. So Jake snaps his fingers and I disappear. Just like that. Guess the fantasy's over, huh? I was still explaining, still trying to make him move faster, when I saw headlights sweep across the living room. Then a car door slammed. My pulse stopped. He wasn't supposed to be home yet, but there he was. Jake, on the porch, a crutch under one arm, a duffel bag at his feet. He looked tired but happy, and there I stood wide-eyed and frozen in the entryway. Caleb lounging behind me on the couch, beer in hand, perfectly at ease. The moment Jake saw the scene, he didn't get angry. He didn't raise his voice. He just looked broken, like someone had finally solved a puzzle they never wanted to finish. His eyes swept from Caleb to me, to the half-packed boxes, and back again. "What's going on, Tessa?" I tried to fake it. "You're early. I was just helping Caleb pack. He was leaving tonight." Even I didn't believe the sound of my own voice. Jake didn't speak. He just stared at Caleb, who didn't bother, standing then. "How long?" I opened my mouth, but Caleb beat me to it. "About 6 months now. Sorry, man. It just kind of happened, like we'd been having a full-fledged affair. Yes, we'd kissed, gotten a little close, but it wasn't what he was making it sound like." Jake still didn't explode. He just looked at me with eyes that used to hold so much love and said quietly, "I need you both out of my house tonight." I froze. "Your house? I've been here, paying bills, holding this place down while you were gone." Jake cut in, still calm. "The house is in my name. My military allowance pays the mortgage. And Ryan's been sending me photos for weeks. I didn't want to believe it, Tessa, but I've known something was wrong." I started crying, not from guilt, but fury. How dare he? He left me in a vacuum, and now he was punishing me for finding something to cling to. I turned to Caleb, waiting for backup. Instead, he was already grabbing his jacket. "I'll stay at Tommy's. Let me know when things settle." That was it. 8 months of sharing a home, and he walked out like it was just another Tuesday. No fight, no defense, just gone. I stood there stunned as the door clicked shut behind him. Jake watched it all unfold like he'd already made peace with the wreckage. "You've got 1 hour. Pack what you need. Come back tomorrow when I'm at work to get the rest." He limped past me into our bedroom and shut the door. I spiraled. I called Caleb. No answer. Called the friends I'd distanced myself from. Voicemail. Even my sister said, "I'm not getting in the middle of this." Everyone vanished. With Jake literally counting down the clock, I threw clothes, toiletries, my laptop, some jewelry into bags. As I stepped toward the door, Jake handed me an envelope. "Divorce papers," he said flatly. "I had them drawn up last month. Ryan showed me the pictures of you two kissing in the driveway. I was going to talk to you, maybe even try to salvage something. But this is done." I couldn't breathe. "You can't do this. Where am I even supposed to go?" He just opened the door. I thought Caleb would be a soft place to land. He said I could stay while I figured things out. I mistook convenience for connection. Stupid mistake, when I finally got him. On the phone the next day, he laughed. "Tessa, it was fun. But I'm not trying to play savior. You've got too much going on." Then, like a casual afterthought, "Besides, I'm back in touch with Kylie." Kylie. The ex he claimed shattered him. Turns out I was just a detour. Days later, Jake drained our bank accounts. All of them. His military check had always been our backbone. My part-time office job barely paid for groceries, let alone rent in this overpriced zip code. And just like that, I had nothing. Jake rewrote the breakup before I could speak, told our friends his version. They swallowed it whole. People I'd known for years crossed the street to avoid me. The military wives, the same ones I never fit in with, locked arms around him like a protective wall. I bounced between spare couches and awkward favors. Stayed until sympathy curdled into annoyance, then moved on. Eventually, I ran out of couches, so I lived in my car. Showers at Planet Fitness, job hunting over free McDonald's Wi-Fi. I had to quit when the office rumors, courtesy of Jake's friend, got me dropped to 2 shifts a week. Then came the real gut punch. I found out through mutuals that Caleb had already moved in with Kylie. Less than 2 weeks after I was out on the street. All that talk about bad credit and no place to go? Lies. He just didn't want to live alone while waiting for her to take him back. I was filler. Temporary housing. 3 months into sleeping in a Honda, I saw Jake again, walking out of our favorite restaurant with a woman. She had that effortless, fresh-faced charm, the kind of beauty I always felt like I had to work for. He was smiling at her, that familiar warm smile I hadn't seen in over a year. His limp was gone. His arm was around her waist. I ducked lower in my seat. The windshield. Was fogged, my car cluttered, my hair dirty. I didn't want them to see me like that, like what I'd become. Now here I am, invisible in a town that used to be mine, while Jake plays house with some new officer and Caleb rehearses domestic bliss with his pregnant fiancée. Everyone treats me like I broke something. But what about Jake disappearing on me for a year? What about Caleb using me for shelter and sex and then ghosting me like trash? What about friends who couldn't even ask me what happened? I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I was just lonely, grieving a life that was slipping through my fingers. Yesterday I saw Jake sold the house, our house. He's moving to Houston with his new love. They look insufferably perfect online. Meanwhile, I'm begging landlords in sketchy neighborhoods to overlook my tanked credit score, ruined when Jake erased me from everything we built. And Caleb, he's engaged. Kylie's pregnant. Funny, he told me for 3 years he wasn't ready for marriage or kids. Turns out he just wasn't ready. For them with me. The military wives still give me side eyes and death stares in Target aisles like I'm radioactive. But I know their stories. Shannon's husband had an affair overseas. Danielle's came back a drunk, but I'm the pariah. For what? Letting someone keep me company when I was abandoned. Some nights I fantasize about disappearing. New city. New life. But how? I've got no money, no references, no degree. Apparently no skills except making men feel wanted until they decide they're done. I've applied to jobs everywhere, Dallas, Phoenix, Chicago. The rejections come fast. The offers, worse than staying. People say I did this to myself. That I made my bed. But I didn't ask to be left behind. I didn't ask to be lied to or used or painted as the villain in a story I didn't even get to tell. The truth is, we expect military wives to be saints. Silent, loyal, endlessly patient. Suffering becomes a badge. But no one wants to hear what happens when the silence breaks, when the loneliness wins. So yeah, I let Caleb in. I made mistakes. But do I deserve this? To be houseless, friendless, branded? No. I deserved better than Jake's abandonment, better than Caleb's lies, better than a life built around waiting, for people who never truly came back. One day I'll get out of this car, and when I do, they'll remember me. Jake will realize his shiny new romance rusts like all the others. Caleb will get bored playing house and start looking for his next distraction. And all those friends who turned their backs will regret staying silent. But for now, I wake up in this car. I wash my hair in public bathrooms. I apply to jobs and keep going. Alone. I'm not the villain. I'm the wreckage no one wanted to claim.